Ira Frederick Aldridge was the first African-American actor to obtain success on the international stage. Ira Aldridge was recognized as the most remarkable interpreter of Shakespeare's leading roles. He first appeared on the London stage in 1825 in the role of Othello, a role that he will be closely associated with for the rest of his life. Our Freedom is Yours will be presented on stage at Southwest Community College, The Life of Ira Aldridge. Joining me in the studio today is the creator and writer of Our Freedom is Yours, Mr. Levi Frazier Jr., costume designer, Miss Anne Thompson, and actor, Delvyn Brown, who is portraying the role of Ira Aldridge. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
How y'all doing?
We're doing fine. We're doing fine.
Welcome to the show. I'm so excited to be here with you all today, and I hope you all are excited as well.
Super fantastic.
Super fantastic. Yes. Well, let's start with you, Mr. Frazier.
Yes.
Our Freedom is Yours is officially part of the Memphis in May celebration.
Yes,
what inspired you to write this play about Ira Aldridge?
Well, I actually had done some research about Ira Aldridge a while back, and I thought, what a great man. And the research I did was in the early say about 2004, 5, something like that. And the more I read about him, the more interesting I felt that he was. But even before that, I was at Howard University just walking through one time, and I walked by the theater department, and they had this statue of Ira Aldridge outside of the theater. And it's called the Ira Aldridge Theater. That was back in the 70s. And so that turned me on to him. And then when I got an opportunity to go to Poland, I got an opportunity in 2008. My sister went over there, international paper, they have a division over there. And so I went with her, and I got a chance to kind of walk around because I knew he was, still buried in Poland. And when he died, he was buried in Poland. But of course, it was another town. I was in Krakow. And I asked the people at the consulate if they knew about him. They didn't know about him. I asked other folks, they didn't know about him either. So I informed the Polish people that you got this African-American actor, well-known actor, who's actually buried here in Poland. And so I was determined at that point to do more research about him and to put together a play.
So tell us a little bit about this actor, and why is it important for us as African-Americans to know who he was? Because until you wrote this play, I never knew anything about him. So just give us a little background on who he was.
Ira Aldridge was born in 1807 in New York. And 1807, you got to understand, this was during the time, or at a time when most African Americans in the United States were slaves. Right. So he was free. His dad was a minister.
Was he born in the United States?
He was born in the United States. Now, when you read different accounts, sometimes, just like an actor will do, or producer, they'll embellish to make their lives more interesting. When Daryl leaves the South, he becomes Darrell. You know what I'm saying? So Ira became that kind of a person too. He embellished his life. But some things cannot be embellished. They were just what they were. And so when he was born in 1807, he went to the Black Freedman School, and he learned, real well. He was a very smart young man, great speaker and all. And this particular school turned out prodigies, they were just very bright students. Now you got to, again, understand this is 1800s, early 1800s, right? And so eventually what happened was he decided he wanted to act because he had gone to some of those theaters up there. They were white theaters because there were no black theaters. And then two people decided to put together a theater, two black men. First it was like a tea garden. They sipped tea, black folks would come in, have a good time, middle class black folks. Again, at the time when most black folks were slaves.
In the 1800s.
1800s, early 1800s. So they formed the theater in about 1823, and then they started doing Shakespearean plays. And they first, black folks were coming in, and white people started coming just to jeer and make fun and boo, but pretty soon they stayed because they liked it. Well, they began to rival the Park Theater, which was a European American theater. And so the Park had behind them the newspaper and the police department, so they really put them out of business, to make a long story short. Ira Aldridge decided at the age of 17, because he started performing in the theater. He decided at the age of 17 he was going to leave the United States and go to England. He had a letter from a guy named Wallace, who's a very fine actor at the time, you know, telling people that this young man was a fine actor.
He was hanging out with all of the distinguished actors in that day, and he was only 17 years old.
17 years old. It just shows you that you don't have to wait till you're 21 to do what you need to do. If you got the talent, know-how, the ability,
go for it.
Just go for it. Just go for it. And he's a great example, not only black people, white people, anybody. If you want to do something, do it. Do it long enough, you'll be successful.
How long did it take you to write this play and do all the research?
Well, you know, it's interesting because oftentimes people ask me that question, but sometimes you get an idea and it's germinating. So it'll germinate for years, and then by the time you put it on paper, a lot of it has already been written, you know what I'm saying? So the writing process is really sometimes the shortest process, but the germination period is the longest because I had the idea, you know, to write it. I knew about Aldridge in the late 1970s, but the idea to write it probably didn't take place until about 2000, you know, maybe 2 or 3. And then, of course, in earnest, it took place when I went to Poland. That really gave me a shot in the arm, a boost. And so, to actually sit down and write it, probably some months. But if always, it's more than just that because you got to rewrite. You got to constantly even now, as I look at it and look at the great job that Delvyn is doing, I'm getting more ideas about what to do with the show. So that is one of those processes because I remember when I really started to write, it's like the idea took a whole nother turn that I didn't even know of myself until that point.
When you wrote the play, did you have at that time an actor in mind who you wanted to portray the role?
From the very beginning, I had Delvyn in mind for the role.
Was it because of the uncanny resemblance of Delvyn, or it's just something that you've seen him perform before?
I had seen him perform before, and I saw the strength in him as a performer. He performed in another play of mine. I didn't know who was in it. Rubio Grace did, a Bluff City Tri-Arts did it. It's called Sad State of Affairs.
Oh, yeah.
And so I went to see it. I'm looking at this young man and said, wow, he's good. And then I saw him again in at Theater Memphis at Remember the Wedding. Yeah. And he played Honey Camden, a role that I played many years before. And so all these connections are coming about. And I said, man, I got to have this young man. And so that's the person that I saw from the very beginning.
Oh, awesome. Now we're gonna talk with Delvyn, but we want to get to the costume design because the show is set in 1825.
1867.
1867, which is an era I'm not familiar with. Miss Anne, were you familiar with this era when you first became part of this project?
Somewhat. In costuming, you go through all eras. And I particularly like the 1800s because the attire is so interesting. The embellishments and the fabrics that they use, and it's just a, I can't get the word right now, but that
regal.
It's regal, yes, but it's very conservative and very pristine.
Now, for the sake of our students that's watching, I'm going to explain to them what a costume designer does. A costume designer is a fashion professional who is responsible, like you're responsible, for creating the look and the mood for the actors and actresses in film and in television and stage production. The costume designer does this through designing, through sewing, through researching, what you did, purchasing actual clothing and costume worn by those on stage, and by selecting or designing the accessories and props which help to define each character. So that's what you had to come up with this actor, and then there's some more extras that's also involved in the play that you had to come up with the costumes for.
Yeah.
So let me ask you something. Name some, for our audience, name some of the shows that you worked on here in Memphis.
I've done several things at Opera Memphis. That's where I started. I guess my love for theater and costuming started there. I've done several shows at Hattie Lou, One Monkey. I think I did the whole season 8 at Hattie Lou. I have done some things for local schools, Grace St. Luke's School.
Have you ever created anything for this era in the 1800s? Was it a challenge for you?
You know, I haven't, because a lot of the things we rent from Mr. Lincoln's costume shop. He has a wonderful selection of 1800s outfits, so it's kind of easy with him being in place.
Yes, ma'am.
There are some times that you can't actually find what you're looking for, so I have learned how to take a piece here and take a piece there and pull together the look that I'm trying to achieve.
To create Mr. Brown and turn him into Ira Aldridge.
Yes.
I've seen some of the costumes last night.
Yes.
They were beautiful.
Yes.
You guys are going to love this show. You're going to love it. Was this your first time working with Mr. Frazier?
Yes, this is my first time working with Mr. Frazier, and it's been great. It's been really great.
Been a learning
and
experience.
Even for and the director Evelyn has been wonderful. I usually try to let the director kind of lead me in what they're looking for, and then I'll go from there. So
let me talk to Ira for a minute. How you doing?
Super fantastic.
I look at some of the photos and compare them with Ira and you, and there is a resemblance.
Very much so.
Did you notice that when you first got involved, when you first saw it?
No,
You didn't
I
see?
didn't.
Oh, okay.
Well, at the time I didn't have the beard.
Yeah,
all the way.
okay.
But as the beard came along, I began to see.
Be able to see the resemblance. The show capitalized, this show is a one-man show, basically, and it capitalized on your strength, your unique strength as an actor. How difficult was it for you to break this script down? Because I thought it was, you told me, you corrected me, you said it's, what, 31 pages?
It started 31 pages.
31 pages of dialogue and action. I'm sure, was it overwhelming for you? How did you break it down so that you would be able to handle it?
Well, looking forward to some type of method. 31 pages is a lot, but if I had to do 31, I would have. But unfortunately, the pages did trim down to 27. So we have 27. So we have 27 actual live pages of dialogue, nonstop.
Did it scare you when you first got it? When you first got that script and said, "Oh my God"? Because I think you was working on about 3 or 4 plays at the same time.
I think it was 10 or 12.
My God! I mean, how did you feel when you got that script and you said, "Oh, now I got to do this"? Oh my! Did it overwhelm you? Were you overwhelmed at all with it?
Well, I was wondering. Well, yeah, I was overwhelmed, and I was, so used to having a cast around, having people to, bounce that dialogue, dialogue off of, and if I'm not there, then hey, it's somebody else's turn. But this particular production is Delvyn. Where is Delvyn? Delvyn is on you. Okay, I mean, you can't move until
till Delvyn gets here.
Till Delvyn gets here. So, but I invite the challenge, and just the respect that I have for Mr. Levi, thinking that much of me, to put this man that I've never heard of before in my life in my possession to present.
What do you think about Ira Aldridge?
I love this man. This man speaks of me, I feel. As an actor, hundreds of years later, the way Mr. Levi wrote the script, I mean, he speaks of things that we go through today.
Yeah.
And at a time where that freedom has came and passed, civil rights, we have that. We have a black president, but still some of the key factors of being an actor or being a respected black actor here in America are still questioned.
Have you ever done Shakespeare before?
I've done one other Shakespeare performance. It was a Hattie Lou performance. It was called Shakespeare's Women. Okay.
Now, in this play, you played about 4 different, it was so many different characters. You played Richard III, you played of course, Ira Aldridge, then you transition into his father. There are some different, ups and downs and lows and valleys and different shiftings that you have to go through as an actor, as a performer. How challenging was this for you, Delvyn?
I'm speechless. I mean, just with that alone, just like you said, I mean, I'm dealing with at least 7 different characters outside of Ira, his father, and his son.
Yeah.
And that's
just to name a few.
That's just to name a few,
yeah.
Yes. And to be able to keep the sequence in order.
Yeah.
From start to finish. There's no intermission.
No.
There's no breaks. And there's no one else with dialogue. So, and just, again, it's to ride the wave with the words. Let the words move me. And Mr. Levi wrote such a beautiful piece.
He did.
These words sound like my words. So in learning the piece, I had to break it down, you know, within pages. A start, a middle, and an ending. You know, the basic pieces of a story.
Yeah.
And work those pieces relentlessly.
I want to add that Delvyn is probably one of the most intelligent actors that I've seen on stage. And his approach to theater, you know, how he breaks the script down and how he focuses in on those things and how quickly he gets the information down. So I just wanted to commend him for that. And I saw it, I just didn't know how much he had. I knew he had it, but I didn't know how much he had until he started working on the script.
Let's talk about the director, Miss Evelyn Little.
Evelyn Little.
Tell us a little bit about her. How did you choose her to be the director over this? Because you could have did it, but...
Yeah. Well, I really wanted somebody with a fresh approach, because I know sometimes as a writer-director, you get kind of tunnel vision because you wrote it. It's the only way it can be done, just like I see it. But most places, and I have to commend Miss Little, because most times when a writer's in the rehearsals, he's bound and gagged and put in the back so he won't say anything. Disrupt what's going on in rehearsals. But I'm bound and gagged, but she lets me say something every once in a while and puts the tape back over my mouth.
I'm sure that's kind of hard. You want to jump in there?
Yeah, but you know, but she's such a good director, and she's done many things. She was part of Evening of the Soul many years ago with Irma Clan, and she's been here at Southwest, and her thing is interpretive theater. She's an expert in it, and so I just knew she was the person to do it. And she stepped in, and she was and is the person that I thought she would be in directing this piece.
Was the words easy to digest for you, Delvyn?
No.
There was not?
No, there was not. As you're here in the piece, they speak of how his tone, his dialect, his as they call it, his elocutional skills. And I was wondering, did I have that? You know,
found that out, didn't you?
Yes, I had to find it out. And but like I said, it's a challenge.
Yes, sir.
And I invite that. You know, as an actor, I look forward to being a better actor.
As an actor, you was in a different place, a different time, with different languages, because there was words that we had to learn, like Woots.
Woots, Poland.
Speak a little Poland.
Poland.
Polish. She speaks Polish in the show.
Give us an example of some. The beginning, I think, is Our Freedom and Yours.
Zavanusti nasze I wasza.
And what?
For our freedom and yours.
Say it again. What is it?
Zavanusti nasze I wasza.
Okay. And how long did it take you to learn that?
That's a secret.
It's a secret?
Trade secret. Well, I tell you what, no, it's not. It was frightening to see these words and not recognize the lettering of none of that. And just that alone, before even getting into the script, I had to, you know, Google Polish interpretations. What do these words mean? So that way, when I deliver the word, everyone is getting the same interpretation at the same time. So it started off, I was listening to a woman's voice. And I just wasn't getting it. And I said, Mr. Levi, we need to find a man. You know, and not that it wasn't necessarily hard to get, it was just hard for me to with having the voice tone that I had to match what I was hearing.
Yes, yes.
So to hear a man say the same words and then, you know, and try to match that dialect and that tone, it was a little easier for me.
Mr. Frazier,
Yes.
Could you tell our audience, why is it so important for, especially our actors in the city of Memphis and everywhere, for them to learn about this man? Because this man, like you said, it was in the 1800s, and he had to leave because the United States, because
he wasn't accepted.
He
could not perform, especially with the white cast, which he did all over Europe. And he mentions the fact, he said, had he performed in the United States with a white Iago and Othello, he would have been jailed, and had he performed with a white Desdemona, he would have been lynched.
Absolutely.
So he was in the right place at the right time.
And we cover this and you cover this in the story, because we talked about the black face, the white people putting on and I remember seeing old movies back in the 20s.
Minstrels.
Yeah, and I was like, why are they doing that? And never knew at that time that because as a people of color, we couldn't perform.
We couldn't perform. As a matter of fact, when we were allowed to perform finally in minstrel shows, would you believe you could be as dark as my pants, but you had to put on black makeup.
Yeah.
You could not get on the stage as a black man with no makeup on. You had to put on burnt cork, just like the white actors.
And his
shoe polish.
His personal life we talk about his personal life, his wife, his kids in this, and come to find out that he has some things in common with Shakespeare too.
Yeah, he did. Actually, Shakespeare.
Do you have some things in common with Ira?
Yes, yes. And I'll tell you, what really makes it just overwhelming is that this man did these type of feats as far as traveling the world.
Yeah.
Budapest, Prague,
Yes.
Versailles.
Yes.
With no car.
No car.
You know, you're steamboating across the world where it would take you 6 months,
Yes.
a year to get there almost, you know, and then be ready to perform, you know, and no cell phone to make calls home.
It's amazing.
Writing letters, waiting
months
for the
reply.
response to come back.
Yeah.
And at the same time be able to hold a family together and have that love and respect in a household where that this man is thousands of miles away.
And he was loved. Millions of people loved this man. And he was respected, highly respected actor. And he had servants, white servants waiting on him.
Well, you know, basically what happens is he was a man of means. You know, he had accumulated some money, of course, and during that time, he was able to go places that many people, black, white, whatever color, were not able to go to because of his enormous talent. And that's what I want to encourage young people today. If you have the talent, you know, put it to use, because if you don't do it, nobody else can use your talent for you. They can use their talent, but you have an opportunity to use your talent. You're going to run up against obstacles. That's just part of it.
That's part of it, right?
But you stay true to the cause.
And it don't matter how old you are.
It makes no difference.
No difference.
There's a gentleman that I know who was a policeman. He was a lot of other things. He ended up later on in life decided he wanted to be an actor, and he might be somewhere around here. There he is.
There he is.
But this, you know, he's an inspiration to me. You know, he said, this is what I want to do. And I said, man, how many people would be brave enough to do that? Say, I don't want to do that. I've done that. I know that's not me.
Right.
And he even mentioned the fact that once he found out what he wanted to do, it's like a weight was lifted from his shoulder.
It is, truly. And you believe that too. Have you always wanted to be a costume designer?
No. Well, I kind of fell into it. My granddaughter got me started with that. At Opera Memphis, she did summer camp, and I just volunteered and ended up doing costuming. And I really enjoy it, and I especially love working with Delvyn. One of the joys of a costumer is to work hard pulling these costumes together, dress the actor, and then he bring that character to life, and that's a joy. And Delvyn does that.
Yeah.
I've worked with Delvyn on several things, and I enjoy working with him because he brings that character to life.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Are you going to be afraid when you hit this stage May 27th? It's just going to be you up there.
I'm afraid now. But
I don't think you are afraid. I don't think that was the right word to say, but you said yourself, I mean, you used to looking to your left and your right and there's somebody there, but there's not nobody there going to be with you on May 28th.
it's all right.
We're going to be around you.
I'm gonna say it's all right. It's all right to be afraid. It's all right to have nervousness. It's all right to even have that anxiety of you know, making a mistake. And as I say, you know, in this business, you know, performing on stage is a game of threes.
Yeah.
I mean, every shot has to be made. I mean, that's how I feel. And as I invite that, I think that makes me better. I think that's what makes me stronger. I think that's what they see when they see me perform. As I take that nervousness or that anxiety and I use it to build off of and push the performance. And I like the energy that the people give.
You always said that you always wanted to do a one-man show, so
I've
now
been asking, and I don't know what will make me ask that, but you know, I play a lot of characters.
Yes.
And I wanted to be able to deliver a performance where that a lot of characters are already entwined.
Yes.
That way, you know, the audience or people who, you know, watch my work doesn't have to wait so long to see me play a nice guy or see me play, you know, a villain. They can see all these in one particular piece and then see the real, you know, talent that I know that I have.
You do have that. You certainly have
But
that.
I'm afraid.
Oh,
I'm
well,
afraid.
I think it's just the jitters. I think once you get the first show under your belt, I think everything's going to be all right.
I will be there the first show with my afraidness, if that's a word. But I invite it, yes.
Yes, sir. Well, congratulations, everybody. On, I think you guys have been rehearsing for about 2 months now on this project.
A little bit, you know, we wouldn't like every day for 2 months, but jumping into it, getting character down, learning some Polish, doing different things. But it's definitely been on our minds, and you know, in different ways, and we put certain things in place for 2 months.
So why don't you share with our audience when the show is and where it's going to be? Southwest Community College Theater. And it's free.
It's free. Yeah, we'll be here on the Union campus, Southwest Tennessee Community College, on May 27th, 28th, and 29th. 27th and 28th at 7:30 p.m. and the 29th, which is that Friday, at 12:30 p.m. And after that 12:30 p.m. performance, we will have a talk back with someone who knows about Ira Aldridge, because she put a plaque, helped put a plaque on the place where he lived during the time he was here, in Poland before he died. And so she's going to give the talk back, and after that we're going to have a reception with some Polish food. So we'll have the whole experience there.
Awesome. Well, congratulations again. Is there anything else we will be expecting from you, Mr. Frazier, that you're working on in the future?
Always working on something. Evelyn Little, who directed the show, and I just got back from Greece. We had a great time taking the students on a study abroad trip over there. And I have another piece that I'm working on. It's really a piece that has 2 people in it. Really, it's mainly 2 people. It's Alexander Pushkin and Phyllis Wheatley. And it's a piece that I've been working on for a number of years. And I got somebody, and a good friend of mine, who I'm looking at doing it. And so it's wait and see.
It's exciting.
Wait and see.
I love theater. But before I close, of course, you know I had to mention, I want to say congratulations to Delvyn for recently there was an award show in Memphis called the Diversity on Stage Award. And Delvyn Brown won Top Honor Actor of the Year. Congratulations on that.
Thank you. Thank you.
amongst all of the Memphians. Here are the actors together, but you won it, and congratulations, you well deserve it.
Yes, it does.
Thank you.
I know. How does that make you feel?
Like I said,
Like you said.
if my peers, the people who watch my performance, the people who I work with, feel I should have that top honor,
Yes,
then
sir.
it's all right with me.
Yes, sir.
That's how I feel. I am honored, and I will defend it humbly. I know there's someone else out there, you know, so I invite it.
Okay, he sounds almost like Shakespeare.
Ira.
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 That's Ira.
Yes, sir. But
Yes,
thank you
brother.
so
Thank
much,
you.
and
Thank you.
congratulations again. Well-deserved award.
Thank
you
you.
so much for taking the time out to come and talk to me today, and I'm so excited to be a part of this. All right, Miss Anne.
Yes.
We have a lot of students here at Southwest Tennessee Community College that are interested in theater, all aspects of theater, acting, stage managing, directing, costume design. How does a person that's interested in costume design get started? What advice would you give them?
My advice would be to study costuming.
Study costume.
I personally have not gone through that process. My background is in clothing construction,
Okay.
which gives me that foundation, because if you can sew, you can basically pull anything together. But I would encourage them to study theater, to study costume designing, and then you also have to study the history of clothing, because that's going to give you that knowledge that you need to know if it's set in the 1700s, what things you need to pull.
Do you necessarily have to be a good seamstress?
Oh, yes.
You do.
Oh, yes. I mean, costuming is a lot different from just clothing construction, because you can do some things that nobody will know that are done but you still want that appearance to be on
Right.
task.
Yeah.
You don't want things, you know. Yes.
How long would it take to design a typical outfit to outfit an actor for a show?
Well, it just depends on what periods it's set in, you know.
Yeah, I can imagine, yeah.
For me, it's a process. I have to first research it. Once I research it, then of course the construction part, this really sounds weird, but I dream about it. I visualize it, and I'll go to sleep and I'll dream about how to put it together. And even in the process of constructing it, I may take it loose and turn it around or go in a different direction. It's a process. And you have to be committed to it, because construction is not something you can do in a hurry.
Yeah.
There are some things, like one of your costumes I did this morning, and it was just a tunic, so it was just straight stitching. It was very, you know, for someone who's experienced, it was very simple to do. I don't use, sometimes I use patterns, sometimes I don't, you know, but I can put a garment together without ever looking at a guide sheet.
Wow.
So, you know.
That is talent.
Amazing.
I
You have
trust
to.
her.
And one of my greatest accomplishments was when I costumed Dream Girls for Millington Central High School. I was nominated for a costume award.
Oh, very
Yes,
good.
I was nominated for that.
I
Yes,
did not know that.
yes. So, yeah.
That is awesome. Now, that's a challenge. I mean,
Yeah.
from costuming 5, well, I don't even know how many in that cast, to one person, it's still a challenge.
Yes,
because
it
sometimes
is.
the actor or actress gain weight, lose weight.
Well, now the biggest challenge is when you have an understudy.
Okay.
And your principal is a size 12 and your understudy is a size 16. That's when the challenge comes.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
you know, but you know, you really have to have a love for the art
Yes.
in order to put yourself into it. And I put myself into
You
it.
do.
I visualize what I want to see, and I get a little frustrated because I'll visualize things. One of your costumes, as a matter of fact, I visualized what I thought was there, but when I picked it up, I understood that that was my own little vision from something I saw on television.
And I want to add, I worked with her on, we just worked together on The Convert at Hattie Lou Theater, and she was there, Mr. Frazier, and she paid attention to those costumes every night. She would just wash those costumes and take care of those costumes. I mean, her eyes was glued to those costumes. But that's what you do.
That's a personal thing that I do. Not all costumers do that.
Right.
I personally want to be there through the process.
Yeah.
I will be here every night for rehearsals. I will sanitize costumes from this point on because we will be doing dress rehearsals.
Yes.
And then Wednesday before the performance, I will come and make sure everything is pressed and looking nice so that when they step out on stage, everything is crisp. And that's what I do. That's something that I personally do.
Take pride in your costumes. And anything that you do, you always have to take pride in.
Oh, yes.
Passionate. Let me ask you one more question.
Yes.
You got your one-man show up under your belt. Is there anything else that you want to do?
Tour it.
You want to tour it?
All right.
Excuse me, I get excited. You want to tour it? Really?
Yes. That would be wonderful.
I mean, let's do it.
It's a story that...
Just put it out there in existence.
Yes, I mean, this man, this black man, has done a lot for us. And we need to know about it.
He paved the way for us.
You know, for black actors today.
Yes.
To be the very first black actor to play white roles.
Yes.
Shakespearean roles.
Shakespearean roles, absolutely.
Where that at a time, you know, it was better to be an actor to be black. You know, that's what they saw him as. They didn't see him for who he was. They saw him for what he was.
Absolutely. I can see this touring the colleges and high schools for Black History Month.
Oh yeah, and not just any time.
Yes.
It's something that should be taught, learned.
Yes.
You know, especially in terms of theater.
And we thank you, Mr. Frazier, for exposing us to this man, his life, what he was about. And if anything, it encouraged us. It encouraged me. And I'm sure it has encouraged you.
It's a confidence builder. Yes.
Absolutely.
It takes that feeling of being afraid
Yeah.
and channels that emotion into a confidence. I mean, I'm looking forward to it.
I'm so excited about our freedom and yours, and you should be excited too, Memphis. So we invite you all to come to Southwest Tennessee Community College, May 27th.
28th and 29th.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Why don't you share with our audience when the show is? And
Okay, performances are May 27th, 7:30, May 28th, 7:30, and 29th at 12:30. After the 29th performance at 12:30, we will have a talk back, and after that we will have a reception.
Yes.
So we really invite you out to see the show. It'll be at Southwest Tennessee Community College on Union, on the Union campus in the theater, VS 113.
okay. Thank you all so much for tuning in. This is Southwest Tennessee Community College. We will see you all next week for the production of Our Freedom and Yours. Thank you so much. Goodbye.